Hiya everybody, it's Anis again here from Sheffield Futures. I hope you're doing all right during this very strange time period, I really do. I'm here today in my very new Sheffield Futures t-shirt. I'm very proud to be wearing it, so hello again. So today's topic is going to be on something called self-esteem and what we can do if we notice that our self-image or self-esteem is struggling for whatever reason. So self-esteem can really impact on lots of different ways or perhaps all aspects of our lives really, and it can be caused for lots of different reasons. So some people, if they experience trauma in their childhood or early on in their lives, that can result in low self-esteem. People who experience bullying, people who experience racial prejudice, discrimination, all kinds of victimization can really reduce someone's self-image and self-worth, and it can be quite long-standing if it's not challenged as well. So what does it look like to have low self-esteem? So low self-esteem is where you basically think quite poorly about yourself. So the thoughts might be things like you're not good enough, you're stupid, you'll fail, everybody thinks you're a failure, no one likes you, you're fat, all these kind of things. So they're very critical, they're very harsh and they're very cruel, but they're often very untrue as well. The emotions that go along with them are things like anxiety, stress, anger, feeling depressed. So there's some of the common thoughts basically. So what can be done then if we feel that we have issues with low self-image and low self-worth? Well, there's quite a few things to do actually. So if you notice that you're telling yourself very negative things like, you know, you're going to fail, there's no point applying for that course, everybody thinks you're stupid, the first thing to do is to acknowledge it and go, oh, that's a negative thought, I'm being very critical of myself, and it's going to really reduce my self-image and self-worth. If you can try and reframe that statement, even if it's into a neutral statement, if you're struggling with a positive reframing, to things like, okay, well, I might not get the results I'm looking for, but I'm going to try anyway. Or things like, I've succeeded in the past, I might succeed this time. So you kind of catching that negative statement and then reframing it into at least a neutral statement. And so that kind of is a way of being a lot kinder to yourself. And to recognise that, you know, we're being fair with ourselves. Another thing you can do is to celebrate where you have succeeded. So sometimes people, when they've got low self-image, they struggle to acknowledge their successes. So if you're feeling quite low or you're feeling like you're having trouble recognising your strengths, go back to your previous successful things. It might be an exam, it might be a sports competition, it might be even something that's interpersonal, so where you helped a friend out, so where you were kind, where you were honest, where you were brave. These are all really important qualities. Life, I don't think, is always about being the best or the first at something, but it is also about looking after each other and looking after yourself. So yeah, think about an area or an example where you've been kind, where you were successful when you set yourself a target and you reached it. And that is a way of kind of reminding yourself that you can achieve, you can succeed, and raising that self-view and that self-image, and kind of being more balanced about the way you view yourself. Another thing you can do is to recognise that everybody makes mistakes at some time or another. No one is perfect. And sometimes an activity that might be useful for you is to write down your negative inner critical thoughts. So, for example, it can be quite a painful task, this. So if you have a very frequent negative comment, for example, you might have a thought that I am stupid. So if you write that down, you write that very powerful, very cruel, very unkind statement about yourself, would you imagine saying that to anybody else? Because I doubt whether you would. So if you say it out loud to yourself and then imagine saying it to somebody else, you might be able to realize just how difficult and hard you've been on yourself. So yeah, if you think that's something that you might find useful, have a go. So write down your very common, frequent negative thoughts, and then, have a go at saying them out loud, and then realizing how cruel they are, how harsh they are. And then the next step might be to reframe them. So, I have made mistakes in the past. I don't always get things wrong. Or everybody makes mistakes. We learn from mistakes. We learn probably more from mistakes than we do from successes. So that's just something that you might want to try. So writing down your common frequent negative thoughts, saying them out loud, realizing how unfair they are, and then try and reframe them into at least a neutral statement. And then hopefully you might be able to find it easier in your day-to-day life of recognizing those very negative, very cruel, very harsh statements and reframing them to more neutral, more kinder statements about yourself. And ultimately that will increase your self-esteem, because the more often you are negative about yourself, it reduces your self-image and your self-worth. So the first step in increasing self-worth and positive self-image is to talk positively about ourselves. And it can be difficult and it can feel weird, especially if you're not used to doing it. And people can say things like, whoa, I can't, that's showing off, isn't it? That's showing off, saying that I'm kind or I'm honest or I'm brave. Well, if it's true, it's not showing off. It's acknowledging your strength. So if it feels difficult at first, don't worry. Acknowledge it and go, yeah, this is a bit weird. I feel a bit strange thinking about myself like this. However, it's just a new way of thinking. It will become more familiar. It will become easier to do. So yeah, have a go. Have a go. Notice where you've been critical about yourself. Challenge it. Try and reframe it with something neutral or positive. And yeah, you'll be surprised, I think, at how easily your self-image and your self-esteem will raise. I'd be surprised if it doesn't. And they're very easy steps to do. You can do them in your, anywhere at all. You can make a diary of them. When you've noticed a change in your mood, do you notice a change in the mood when you're being kinder to yourself? Again, I'd be surprised if you don't. So hopefully that has given you a few ideas about what to do when you're feeling quite negative about yourself and how you can begin to be a bit more self-compassionate. So that's the end of my vlog today on low self-image and low self-worth. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Okay, stay safe. Bye.